From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Two motorists escaped serious injury this afternoon after a collision at the intersection of Airport and Gillum.
First responders say one of the drivers failed to yield at the busy intersection and the two collided head-on. Both vehicles were completely totaled in the wreck thanks to the side and front airbags, and because seatbelts were worn, neither driver was seriously injured. Police say this is a common type of collision, especially when drivers aren't paying attention to the roadways. They caution people to remain vigilant when operating a vehicle.
A good head-on collision occurred here. It's probably one of the most common accidents we deal with within the city up and down Airport Road and the Stees is failing to yield on green lights, and fortunately today I don't think anyone is seriously injured. Cutting across traffic, turning across traffic, then you need to be careful and pay attention.
Multiple agencies are now investigating numerous threatening calls made to Fairbanks schools. Stephanie Woodard has more now on those threats and what's being done to track down the calls.
Ignore all bell.
Since March, 5 Fairbanks area schools have been placed into full lockdown after what school officials described as threatening phone calls.
Somebody is voice masking software or device or something.
What is being said in those calls are direct threats that officials believe are made to get the response.
Whoever the caller is knows what schools must respond to, and so they're making specific threats about hurting children. So they're using language that we have to respond to. We can't ignore.
The Alaska State Troopers, Fairbanks Police Department, and the FBI are all working with the district to attempt to trace the phone calls. Over 400 schools across the nation have experienced these calls that law enforcement call swatting.
That's sort of a hoax call to stimulate or initiate a 911 response. And so law enforcement was having trouble with this, but it seems to be that perhaps now they're using schools as targets.
Some parents have expressed their frustration over the communication with the schools during the lockdowns. The lack of communication initially is done to protect the students inside the school. Gaborik said once police clear the building, administrators then begin the task of notifying parents.
As we move through this, we're learning some things about communication, and we know parents want as much real-time information as possible, so we're trying to be responsive to that.
The district says they are working on a way to block calls from people with anonymous phone numbers in hopes to stop the calls. I'm Stephanie Woodard reporting. 3 North Pole men were arrested yesterday after troopers say one accidentally tried to sell heroin to an undercover investigator. 31-year-old Logan Martz, 25-year-old Nicholas Axholm, and 29-year-old Matthew Howell were all taken into custody at a residence in North Pole. According to a release, Martz texted the undercover trooper and attempted to sell him an unspecified amount of heroin. The 2 other men were also arrested after being found with the drug. Large household appliances, which had been reported stolen, were also recovered from Martz's residence. All 3 are being held at Fairbanks Correctional Center.
New sexually oriented businesses, or SOBs, would be allowed in 128 currently vacant parcels covering 382 acres of Fairbanks North Star Borough land. That's if a proposed ordinance approved last night by the Borough Planning Commission is later passed by the Assembly.
What I've seen so far, I think that is a tremendous improvement over what we had on the books prior to this. So I encourage what you're doing here.
That's Dell Eccles testifying in favor of an ordinance that would limit SOBs to areas zoned as light or heavy industrial districts or to general use areas under conditional permits. The commission unanimously approved the draft measure that also sets a 1,000-foot buffer from residential zones and a 500-foot buffer from sensitive receptors like schools, parks, or churches. The buffers would begin and end at property lines. In addition to the previously mentioned lots, there are unidentified developed properties that would be available. The key here is available land. It would be unconstitutional for the borough to zone out SOBs. Assemblyman Carl Castle, a co-sponsor of the ordinance, cautiously spoke in favor of the proposed buffer zones last night.
And my only hesitation is I think we're pushing the envelope a little bit at being overly restrictive, possibly. I was leaning towards larger buffer zones on this. However, because of the nature of our community, when you get into the larger buffer areas, you essentially are zoning these facilities out of existence, which we can't do from First Amendment right perspective.
All right, when we come back with warmer temperatures and drier conditions, local river flooding should not be a problem. We'll tell you why.
Also in our weekly military report, red flag activity will be on the increase through the upcoming summer. Those stories and more when we return. Stay with us.
Management and National Weather Service officials fly up and down major Alaska rivers to watch for flooding. It's for a combined effort called the River Watch Program. Hydrologist Scott Lindsay's job is to fly the stretch of the Yukon River daily and diagnose flooding conditions in real time.
So our purpose is to figure out from the air what's happening and where it is, how high the water is behind that breakup surge, and then warn folks.
Live details about breakup conditions can be crucial to river communities like Eagle, which resides next to the Yukon River. A major flood in 2009 decimated several buildings at the village. Eagle resident John Borg says there would have been much more damage had they not been warned by those working the River Watch program.
Most of the structures and the people who were living close to the river are not there anymore. They've moved back and gotten up into higher ground. The B&B right behind you was 8 feet lower when the ice came in, and when it was put back on the foundation, then they raised it 8 feet.
Response manager Claude Denver says if flooding ever happens, the state will be prepared to provide necessary resources to communities. He says it all starts when a scientist, like Lindsay, says a warning is warranted.
And then we relay that input to the community leaders, and if there is a need for some emergency management help, we're there to provide it. We can provide emergency management technical guidance and support, sometimes financial support, based upon the incident. But really what we try to do is just reinforce their local efforts.
This year, Lindsay says the likelihood of flooding anywhere in the state is unlikely.
We have rated it a low risk for most of the state. A couple of lower lying villages that have problems typically we've rated as low to moderate risk of flooding, but that does not mean that floods can't occur. Folks still need to be prepared, even though the risk is lower than normal.
This is Ryan Grimes reporting.
Increased flying activity has been noticeably recently as Red Flag Alaska continues in the area of Eielson Air Force Base. For some, it's their first time involved in the exercise. But Monty Bowen has the story of one who has been there for several in this week's military report.
We take that 3-month pause and feels like it's, we're hitting the ground running. We had about 2 weeks of flying prior to Red Flag to kind of get us back in the normal tempo, and it's just like anything riding a bike. You haven't done it for a while. You want to start off slow, back to basics, make sure that we're safe for first and foremost, and then we'll start to build on the tactical employment from there.
The fourth Red Flag Alaska of the calendar year started April 30th and runs through May 15th. The exercise provides U.S. and allied pilots, air crews, and operational support personnel the opportunity to train and improve their air combat skills. When a pilot arrives for his first Red Flag, his mission is to keep it simple.
Stay visual, stay in formation, and target and employ when you're told to kind of approach. And having gone through a few years here and just seeing multiple flags and other LFEs that we support, it's more of a kind of bigger perspective.
As you progress, more is added to your job duty list.
Fight management, now you're not only leading a lane or leading the entire south or maybe even the entire fight. It kind of just increases your situational awareness, if you will, on your unit who's fighting for that day isn't the only one bringing the fight.
The next Red Flag is tentatively set for August. Monty Bowen reporting.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
Joe Cook is up next with UAF hockey news, and West Valley filled one of its coaching positions.
All that and more, including high school sports highlights after the break. Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your midweek sportscast. We start with more local athletes signing national letters of intent. Let's see who's going to the next level.
Over at Latham High School, soccer standout Braden Hoppo made his college choice by signing with the Division II Colorado State Pueblo Thunderwolves. Hoppo is an all-conference midfielder and scoring machine for the Malamutes. Hoppo explains why he chose CSU Pueblo.
I think I can go in there and contribute to the team, for the upperclassmen and the underclassmen, And I'm just excited to be there, and the school seems about right for me. Not too big, not too small, and I've heard nothing but good things about Pueblo.
Staying at Lathrop, Jessica Hall signed a NLI on Tuesday to play softball for Dakota County Technical College. Hall, an all-conference catcher for Lathrop, is excited about playing softball at the next level against top talent and getting a start on her dentistry major.
Just being able to know and being able to go and take the next step in my softball career is definitely a dream come true. Being able to show all the girls here in the interior that, you can go out and you can play at the higher level, it's really rewarding.
Last but not least, another soccer player moves on to college. Hutchinson's Katie Hopper signed to Bart College in Annandale on Hudson, New York. The Raptors are a Division III program in the Liberty League of the ECAC. Today, Hopper became the first soccer player from Hutchinson to sign to a college.
I've never been especially dedicated to soccer because of basketball going on, volleyball, and school. I think it'll be good for me to be there just 100% and also have such a good support system with the team academically.
So 3 are on their way out of the interior and 3 more are coming here. The Alaska Nanic hockey team announced 3 players signed NLIs to join the Nooks. Riker Lear comes in from the Camrose Kodiaks of the Alberta Junior A Hockey League. Lear was named team MVP, leading the team in scoring the regular season with 59 points, and he led the team in scoring in the playoffs. John Mulally is out of the same league, and he was an alternate captain for Whitecourt, tallying 50 points this season. The NAHL's Jason Fernsler of the Topeka Roadrunners, who we reported a couple weeks ago, made his commitment to the Alaska Nanics. He made it official with his NLI signing as well. Now, high school sports news. The West Valley boys basketball head coaching position has been filled. Athletics director Missy Pacho announced today that Cornelius Mingo will be the new head coach. Mingo has been the head coach of the Allison Ravens program the last 2 seasons. He's coached at youth comp and AAU teams as well. In his first year ever as a head coach, he led the rebuilding Rams. They had one win in his first season, but last season they had 6 wins under Mingo, so an improving program there. The Wolfpack finished 4th at the state tournament the past 2 seasons under UAF product Kamani Shotwell, who resigned last month. In high school soccer, 2 conference foes battled into a stalemate. The North Pole and Lathrop girls met on the pitch Tuesday, and Asia Doe scored for Lathrop in the second half for the game's first goal. Kylie Erickson answered after a pass from Lindsay Damble for the equalizer, and Savannah Moyson put the pass up 2-1. But Lathrop's Chloe Fitzgerald, she tied the game again with a late goal. A 2-2 final is the score. The same score from the season opener between the teams. North Pole is 1-0-2 in the MAC, 4-1-2 overall. And Lathrop is now 0-1-2 in conference and 3-2-2 overall. The Lathrop boys soccer team, they bounced back from their loss against the West Valley Wolfpack with a win over Monroe. Lathrop was up just 1-0 at the half as Edwin Erickson, he made a series of saves for Monroe, but the Mutes, they would extend their lead in the second half as Braden Hoppo, who you just saw earlier, he finds the back of the net. Valiant effort from the Rams, but the Malamutes win this one 3-0. Also in soccer on Tuesday, the North Pole boys team, they cruised to a 13-0 win over the Allison Ravens. 3 players scored twice for the Patriots, who are now 3-0-1 in the MAC and 4-2-1 overall. In Tuesday night softball action at the South Davis Complex, West Valley went up against the Hutchinson Hawks. This was a seesaw game. The Hawks led 3-2, but Autumn Hendry connects for a 3-1 home run for the Pack to give them a 5-2 lead. The Hawks worked their way back as Cece Cota Sanchez, she went 2 for 2 with an RBI. Hutch was up 7-6 in the 4th. West Valley, they made the final push and they hold on for a 9-8 win over the Hawks. North Pole was playing the Allison Ravens next door. It was all Patriots here. They were up 13-0 as starting pitcher Carissa Ramos hit 2 inside the park home runs for the Patriots. North Pole, they go on to win this one 14-0 over the Ravens in 3 innings. Prep baseball action on Tuesday night at Groudon Memorial, and the West Valley Wolfpack enjoyed a 12-2 lead before the Rams tried to rally late as Ryan Brantley and Gavin Jackson got a couple of base hits, but Taylor Dial and London Emerson combined for 10 Ks and pitched for contact as the Wolfpack fielders cleaned things up. Connor Soden and Trent Shue both got 3 hits as West Valley wins 12-2. They are now 4-0 over on Arco Field, down 0-2 to Allison. Lathrop came back in a big way. How does 19 unanswered runs sound? Wyatt Berg, he led the Malamutes going 3 for 4 with a triple and 4 RBIs. Ben Hall, he was 3 for 3 with 2 ribbies, and Lathrop improves to 4-1 with a 19-2 victory.
And that's it for sports. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into the Wednesday night edition of the Fbx Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about weather. And how many times I've said this, I don't know, but I won't get tired of saying it. A beautiful day across the interior, and it's going to continue that way. Lots of sunshine, temperatures right in the 60s, and we're looking at a great weekend too shaping up. Our photograph tonight sent in by an anonymous for folks, or somebody from Delta Junction area probably, because they were able to capture virga clouds in the Delta Junction area right here. That's when the rain doesn't meet the ground because it's too dry and it just evaporates before it rains. And anyway, thanks to whoever sent that in. And as always, if you have a photograph to share, photos at ktvf11.com. Your numbers look like this. 61, that is our high for the day. The low last night, 36. 72 in 1951. 12 in 1922. Sunrise and sunset, 17 hours and 37 minutes of beautiful sunshine. A gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. The latest satellite radar showing a little more moisture coming in from the south. And we're looking at that to probably be blocked out once again by the Alaska Range. So for the most part, clear skies, just a few scattered showers here and there. On the big map over southeast Alaska, very nice day once again, close to 60 degrees, showers around the Kodiak region. Anchorage looking at 54 and partly cloudy skies, the same for Cold Bay, 49. Not a bad day in Nome, 40 degrees there, 16, a little chilly in Barrow, and 57 degrees at Fort Yukon, just a few scattered clouds here and there. Lower 48 weather looks like this. And again, we're talking about warm temperatures over the southwest, even a few showers and thunderstorms over the Los Angeles area today. How about that? And a lot of storminess moving across the Central Plains. In fact, so bad that we've already had 9 tornadoes reported in Oklahoma and Kansas, and you can see why. Look at this area of low pressure here helping to generate all that energy. And look at those storms just exploding across parts of Texas into Oklahoma. And it doesn't look as like it's going to get any better for tomorrow. As you can see today, the storms were really firing up this afternoon and this evening. They're expected to be basically in the same position tomorrow because the jet stream once again is taking a big dive down to the south and helping to trap all that moisture and energy there. And looks like folks in the central and southern plains are going to be looking at some very ugly weather over the next few days. Still warm over the eastern half of the country. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow in the northern sections. Looks like more flurries for Barrow, mostly cloudy skies for Nome, and partly cloudy skies in the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, once again, lots of sunshine and just scattered clouds for Healy and Delta Junction, 64 degrees for the high in the Fairbanks area. And as far as the southeastern sections, cloudy skies expected at Juneau, some clouds for Ketchikan. While over the southwest part of the state, it looks like showers for Cold Bay, rain expected for Kodiak, and isolated showers for Bethel. And if you're heading down the Anchorage area, looking at rain showers at Anchorage, cloudy skies for Homer, and also in Valdez. Okay, time once again for our kids' weather. And all this week we're talking with those wonderful kids from Joy Elementary School. Tonight, here's a young man with a question for me.
My name is William in Miss Biley's 5th and 6th grade class of Joy Elementary School. And here is my weather question. What is the biggest rainfall ever in Fairbanks, Alaska?
Well, William, the most rain ever one day was in August of 1960. 3.5 inches of rain fell that day, and the most rain in a month was 9.5 inches, once again, in August. Okay, such an interesting question. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. Tomorrow night, the teacher's going to be here with a very cool weather fact. Here's your forecast. For the remainder of the night, a very pleasant evening with clear skies, 37 degrees, the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast, lots of sunshine early, then more clouds, but warmer than today, 64 degrees. And the extended forecast, as you can see here once again, looking at temperatures really very nice all the way across the board in the low to mid 60s. Maybe some showers possible that might be happening by Saturday, but nothing really heavier or expected to wash out any kind of activities that are going on, including the trash pickup day, and also canned food day.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great forecast. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're glad you could join us, but before we leave you tonight,
KTVF and Bailey's Furniture are teaming up for a Spring Dream giveaway where you can win a furniture package from Bailey's valued at $2,500.
All right, this week's mystery word is rocking. Visit Bailey's Furniture for more information and your chance to win. So that will indeed wrap up this edition of our broadcast. Thank you for joining us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News. That's not easy to say.
No, it's not.
Deflategate It looks like New England quarterback Tom Brady was generally aware of ball tampering.
Interesting.
That's up next with Lester Holt.
All right. From all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a great night.
Good night.